But in order to make the changes, we have to know where the flaws are and what we have to do. You know, last night, some of you may have seen, there was a little interview with Larry Kudlow on the business station. And he was complimentary in the sense that he was talking about the monetary issue and maybe restoring a sound dollar to this economy. And he actually was trying to pump it up a little bit and was talking about the Ron Paul gold dollar. But obviously it's not the Ron Paul gold dollar. The gold dollar's been around for about 6,000 years. It's this paper money. The complete paper money has only been around 40 years and it's done a lot of damage. And it's on its last legs, let me tell you. There is no doubt that we do want to end the Fed, but I'll tell you what. But you know, the one thing is we don't have to worry too much about if. We may have to be concerned about when, but all we have to do is get that full audit of the Fed, and the people will end the Fed. Understood something about central banking. They understood something about inflation because they had the runaway inflation of the continental dollar. They were explicit in the Constitution. Only gold and silver could be legal tender. They could not print money. They were explicit about that. They could not emit bills of credit. And they gave no authority for a central bank, which is the Federal Reserve. So we're operating on an unconstitutional system of money, and it has brought us this havoc because it brought us the financial bubbles, and it's also brought us this recession, depression of the last 4 years. So we cannot solve our problems and get back on economic growth unless we address the subject of monetary policy. And that's one thing that the American people are paying a lot more attention to now. This is the first time in 100 years history of the Federal Reserve that the Federal Reserve is an important issue in a presidential campaign. Those of us who believe in honest money and money that's been around for about 6,000 years, it's being weird and unusual, and yet doesn't it appear that maybe just printing money is weird? I mean, just putting numbers on money and calling money is on a piece of paper and calling it money. Now, that's something really very weird. But the other reason there's such resistance to this, we've heard it expressed a few times because I think even on national television, sometimes they're impolite to me. Have you ever noticed? There's been claims, and along with those of us all together, they claim that we are dangerous. That's right. The undermining of our currency occurred in 1913. The total removal of any restraint on the printing of money occurred in 1971. And government has expanded exponentially, the debt has expanded exponentially, the money supply expanded exponentially, and of course our wealth has been drained exponentially as well. And the one characteristic about a sound currency and a free market is the middle class is large and prosperous. But today the middle class is poorer and smaller, especially in the last 4 years. The destruction of a currency, the systematic debasement of currency, just the process will take wealth from the middle class and give it to a privileged elite class. That was occurring even through the last 40, 50 years. That has happened. But it became especially noticeable when we had our crisis in 08 and 09, because who came to the rescue? The Fed that created all the problems. They printed a lot more money, they bailed out all their friends and dumped all the debt on the American people and on the middle class, and they lost their jobs. money issue is so important because what it does, it enhances the growth of government. When government grows, liberty is diminished. And this is what we're suffering from today. Liberty can solve our problems, and following the Constitution would be the way to go about it. But we need to have some fundamental changes in our understanding of exactly what it means to be free and how we protect those liberties. You know, for a while, I think there's been a disintegration of this understanding and a lackadaisical attitude, and we concentrated more on the material benefits of a free society and forgot about the fundamentals of a free society and sound money. But something else happened approximately 100 years ago. Not only did the monetary system change and the foreign policy change, but there was a division in the understanding of liberty. They chopped liberty into pieces. One they call economic liberty, you know, free markets and how you spend your money. And one group will defend this rather well. But then there's another group that defends personal liberty and personal habits and social liberties. And yet, both sides don't defend both sides. I think what we have to do is understand that the concept of liberty is unified. Your right, your life, and your liberty means that you have... Which means you have a right to run your life so you choose, but you also should have the right to keep the fruits of your labor. I've met a lot of people in Washington assume that freedom is too risky for the people because they won't take care of themselves. Give credit to a few of them being well-intentioned. Look at the results. The results are lousy. I would say that I'm going to bet on you and the rest of the people in this country to take care of yourselves a lot better than the government can take care of you. The people who wanted to make sure that everybody had a house had designed this program: print money, easy credit, and then have affirmative action type programs that force banks to make bad loans. At the same time, give Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac special privileges that created a bubble. But yes, a lot more people had houses. Some people had two houses. It looked great. The price of houses was going up. People borrowed more against their houses. And nobody except the free market Austrian economists recognized that there was a bubble out there. A lot of people made money during that time, and then they got into the speculative business with derivatives and made billions of dollars. The inevitable collapse of the bubble came, and guess what? The Federal Reserve came to the rescue. They bailed out the people who had been making all the money. They dumped that debt on us, on the middle class. The middle class lost jobs and lost the houses. So they cannot do this. They cannot provide free stuff. I mean, there are those that think that you can get free education, free medical care, free food, and free houses. But it doesn't work. The old-fashioned way, you have to work for it. You have to say, sound currency. Today, anybody who wants to take care of themselves are punished, because if you try to save money and make 1%, and inflation rates are 5 and 6 and 7%, you lose. So it's designed to hurt savers. Matter of fact, the opposition to the free market economists, I literally say savings is bad. We want you to spend the money. The only thing that stimulates the economy is spending money. And if you go broke and have too much credit card debt and you won't spend, then it's the obligation of the federal government to spend more money. If they don't have it, then they print the money. It's an absolutely bizarre economic theory that you're witnessing the total failure of right now, and it'll be up to you to replace it with something different, and that is free markets, property rights, and following the Constitution.